Good morning, grade ones. I hope you're having a happy day today. So, if you see me again, it means that we're doing maths today. But this week, we're going to be learning something brand new. And it's going to be something that we have never done before. And what we're going to be learning is word problems. Have you ever heard about a word problem before? Well, a word problem is something very fun to do in maths. But when we do word problems, you can't be a normal grade 1 student. You have to become a detective. Do you know what a detective is? A detective is somebody who solves problems. And they work very hard at doing it. And in order to become a very good detective, you need to have good listening ears and your brain needs to be working very well. A word problem is a short story, and inside the short story there's a bit of a problem that needs to be solved. So, when we become detectives, we can help solve the word problems. But these word problems aren't just any type of problem. They are specifically maths problems. So I hope that you're ready to become a detective today because we are going to learn how to solve word problems. When we solve word problems, there are 6 important steps that we need to follow to help us find the answers. Now, before we do the steps, I want to just show you an example of a word problem so that you kind of understand what I'm talking about. A word problem looks like this. Now, this is a very short story, and this story has a bit of a problem to it that we need to find the answer to. Now, I'm going to read the story to you quickly, but we're not going to solve the story today. For tomorrow's maths lesson, we are going to find the answer to the story. Now, in order to solve this word problem, we're going to have to learn our 6 steps first so that we can find the answer to this word problem tomorrow. So, I'm going to read you the story or the word problem just so that you get an idea of what a word problem is. So, the word problem goes like this. At the beach, Sarah finds 4 shells and Tabo finds 5. How many shells do they have altogether? Now, we say that that is a word problem because it's a little bit of a story. It tells us about Sarah's shells and it tells us about Tabo's shells. But there's a problem that we need to solve, and that is to find out how many shells there are altogether. Now, when we do it tomorrow, we're going to follow the 6 steps that I'm going to show you now. So I hope you have your thinking caps on, and I hope you have your detective minds ready to help me solve these problems. Let's have a look at our 6 steps. Now, over here, I have a poster on my wall. And this poster says at the top, Steps to Solving Word Problems. Now, remember I said to you, there are 6 steps that we need to solve these word problems. And we are going to go through them each one at a time. Let's have a look at step number 1. Step number 1 says, read the word problem. And I have a picture of 2 little eyes here to remind us that when we read the word problem, we need to read it carefully and listen carefully as well. So I've already done the first step of the word problem. I've read you the word problem that I showed you earlier, but we're not going to carry on with the rest of the steps and solve the word problem because we're only going to do that tomorrow when we learn how to solve it. Once we've read the word problem, you can say that you've completed step number 1. Then you need to move over to step number 2. Step number 2 says, circle the magic numbers. Now, in every word problem, you will see numbers. And those numbers are very important because they are the clues to help you find the answer to the problem in the word problem. And we are going to see how we're going to circle those magic numbers in our lesson tomorrow. Step number 3 says, decide if you should use Gus the plus or Linus the minus. And here's a picture of Linus the minus and Gus the plus, because these 2 characters are very important in helping us solve word problems. Now, we know that Linus the minus is not always helpful, But one thing that you need to know about him is that he loves being a detective and he loves solving problems. So when we do word problems, Linus the Minus will always be there ready to help us. But when we do word problems, it's a little bit tricky to figure out if the word problem is a Gus the Plus word problem or if it is a Linus the Minus word problem. And tomorrow I'm going to show you how to figure out if the word problem is Gus the Plus or if we need to ask Linus the Minus to come and help solve it for us. Now, once we've done step 3, we move over to step 4. Step 4 says that we get to draw a picture. And drawing a picture is a lot of fun. But when we draw a picture, I'm going to show you how we are going to use circles to draw our picture so that it goes quickly, because detectives love to work fast. Now, after we've drawn the picture, you must remember that it's not there just for fun. The picture gives us a lot of clues in finding our answer. And once we've drawn our picture, it will actually help us with the next step, which is step number 5. Step number 5 says we must write a sum and solve it. Do you remember what a sum is? A sum is basically something that is written here on the board. For example, this sum says 1 plus 1 equals to 2. And a sum you will then see us use Linus the Minus and Gus the Plus. And to find the answer to our sum, tomorrow we're going to then go back and look at our picture that we drew, because our picture will give us the answer. And lastly, step number 6 is to write our answers out, which is very important so that we know what the final answer is to the word problem and that everybody else knows that we have finished solving the word problem. So, even though we finished with step 6 and we've learned or we've gone over all the 6 steps that we need in order to solve our word problems, there's one more important thing that I just want to explain to you. And that is the magic words that we need to use to solve word problems. And this poster over here is going to give us those magic words. Now, the magic words in a word problem are clues to find out if we need to use Gus the Plus or if we need to ask Linus the Minus for his help. Now, every word problem should have a magic word in it, and these are very important. So, I'm going to show you all the magic words that you need to have a look out for tomorrow when we do some more word problems to see whether it's Gus the Plus or Linus the Minus. Now, the magic words for Gus the Plus are these ones on this side. And if you find one of these words in the story, you will know that you need to use Gus the Plus to add the numbers together. But if you find one of these words in your word problem, then you will know that you need to use Linus the Minus to help you solve the problem. So, I'm going to read you all the Gus the Plus magic words so that you are ready for our lesson tomorrow. And then I'm going to read you all the Linus the Minus words. Now, you won't remember all of them, and you don't need to, because we'll have a look at it again tomorrow in our lesson. Now, let's read Gus the Plus's magic words. The first one is add. The second one says all together. The third one says in all. The fourth one says increase. And the fifth word says more. So in the story, if you find one of these words, you will know that it is Gus the Plus who we need to ask for help. Linus the Minus's magic words are these ones. The first one says less. The second one says left. The third one says take away. The fourth one says difference. And the last one says fewer. And if you find one of these words sitting in your word problem, then you need to run to Linus the Minus and ask him for help. Now, grade ones, before we carry on with our lesson tomorrow, I wanted to show you all of these steps and all of these important words so that you will be ready to solve our discuss the plus word problems tomorrow. So I want you to think about these steps carefully and try and remember as much as you can so that it will be easier for you when we start solving the real word problems. Have a lovely day. Bye.